the non-rival policy of the USA. In May 2022, finally, the High Commissioner of the UN Human Rights Commission, Mrs. Michelle Bachelet, and her team could visit in China the Xinjiang province, the home of the Chinese Muslim minority, the Uyghurs. She held talks with the officials of the province, with the peoples on the street, visited prison, vocational training camps, schools, hospitals, factories, and workshops. After the 4 days traveling in the province, she returned to Guangzhou, where she replied to the question of the international press. She pointed out to understand the anti-terror action of China on one side to improve the living condition of the entire population, including the Muslim minority, in order to try out the ground of terrorism, and on the other side, to tighten the security measures. The visit was not an investigation, but gave the possibility to talk with the people and the authorities. With this outcome, she did not match the expectation of the anti-China politics in the West. For this, the Western media launched again a campaign by claiming a whistleblower sent the internal files of the Xinjiang police to the well-known but doubtful evangelist scientist Andrea Zenz, the so-called Xinjiang police files. I was looking into the files and must realize all the files are at least 4 to 5 years old. The photos of the police ready to shoot to escaping inmates are out of the internal Chinese police training material, and the text, which was published by the BBC, was written with a software for writing Chinese language, and this software is not in use in China but abroad. The English translation of the original files are misleading and changed partly the meaning completely. For example, in the copied speech of the Xinjiang party leader, he referred to an actual case that one prisoner could escape since the guards did not use their arms. They did not shoot, but they should have done it. The translation indicates the guards must shoot in any case, but the special case this Xinjiang leader mentioned was not mentioned in the translation. All this supports the supposition the files are misleading or even fake. For the anti-China politics, it is not important that those files are fake. Important for them is only that the people in the Western countries believe it, and the trip of Michelle Bachelet can be criticized. What all this has to do with the non-rival doctrine of the USA. After the Second World War, the USA achieved to be the dominating power in the world, ruling the international relationships worldwide, within the UN, the World Bank, the IMF. The only challenger in that time was the Soviet Union, jointly with the Warsaw Pact states. Already in 1946, the US diplomat George Kennan formulated the strategy for the Cold War against the Soviet Union, the so-called long telegram. By 1990, the US finally succeeded. The Soviet Union was dissolved. Mr. Fukuyama blew the trumpet. The end of the history is reached. In 1993, the US Vice President Dick Cheney published the non-rival doctrine. Never again any power shall be as strong as the Soviet Union to challenge the hegemony of the USA. But in 2001, the Russian President Putin proposed to Germany and the EU to combine the German technology with the Russian resources. Eurasia would be an area in peace and strong to develop the livelihood for its people. But exact this, the USA didn't want. A new strong power which could be a challenge for the American hegemony. Mr. Brzezinski wrote in his several books, the Ukraine would be the key to divide Europe and Russia. In 2004, the Colored Revolution was financed by the USA. In 2014, the Maidan Revolution. The intention to extend the NATO onto the Russian borders followed. Russia finally secured its military safety, the security of the Russian people living in the Ukraine, and acted with arms. Mission completed. Russia and Europe are no rivals anymore. In 2021, the Atlantic Council formulated the so-called longer telegram, the strategy how to contain China. It works out today on three levels: militarily, economically, and politically, respective ideologically. Militarily, the US formed the so-called Quad, one alliance between USA, Japan, Australia, and India. They will deliver nuclear submarines to Australia to form the so-called AUKUS, and the permanent presence of the US Navy in the South China Sea. Economically, trading restriction as tariffs, embargoes, and sanctions against certain goods, forming an economic alliance against China, the new alliance Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Just 2 weeks ago, he launched it in Japan. And this, politically, ideologically, to focus on the fault lines among Xi and his inner circle, aiming at changing their strategy course to support Taiwan to claim for independence from China. It means to divide China, or to support the political activists claiming more democracy through independence of Hong Kong from the People's Republic of China. And finally, blaming China for human rights violation in Xinjiang. And this is the chain link between the Xinjiang police files, the visit of Michelle Bachelet, and the non-rival doctrine. China is challenging the hegemony or the hegemonial power of the USA. Now, China is the only rival for the USA for the next coming years. At the moment, I think, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is most probably only the foreplay for the coming conflict between USA and China. And this coming conflict has to be prevented. All the facts, the longer telegram, the non-rival doctrine, and the long telegram, the non-rival doctrine, and the longer telegram of the Atlantic Council are published and available in the internet. But unfortunately, nobody is looking into it. Nobody look on this connection of all this. Instead, everybody is believing the misleading information, half-truths, and even fakes of the main media. The Xinjiang police files are just one part of this strategy to contain China. It is highly important to inform about the outspoken politics of the USA and the NATO and their intention. We have to stop any those further escalation. And this finally begins with those conferences the Schiller Institutes organize. For this, I thank the Schiller Institute. Thank you very much.